On the first day of university, after the four roommates got to know each other, Lumia dropped a bombshell. She was pregnant. The father of the child was a senior from the same university, whom she met online during summer vacation. They were in the same city, and after meeting in person, they started dating. At that moment, my roommate and I were completely stunned. She said she not only wanted to keep the baby, but also raise it in the dormitory. If the school didn't object, she would even spend her confinement period and raise the child in the dorm, becoming the perfect, independent, and self-reliant woman of the new era. After having a child when she graduates and looks for a job as a newly graduated married woman with children, she doesn't need maternity leave or maternity allowance, making her more competitive in the job market. I curiously asked her, "Mia, are you married already?" "Yes, I've got the marriage certificate, but it's not premarital pregnancy. Your parents have such open-minded ideas. They still don't know. Ziwin told me to wait until the pregnancy is further along before telling them. By then, even if they oppose it, it won't matter anymore. Once the baby is bigger, it can't be aborted. It's bad for the body." Right. Having a pregnant woman around was quite novel for us, three idle college girls whose eyes always reflected innocence and simplicity. So, we usually tried our best to take care of her. When going to the cafeteria, we'd bring back a meal for her to the dorm. When buying fruits or snacks, we'd share some with her. She didn't have to do any cleaning duties in the dorm. When we were joking and fooling around, we had to keep our distance from her, afraid of hurting or bumping into her. But gradually we found out that Lumi, who was pregnant, was too sensitive. She demanded that we go to bed early. Just being quiet wasn't enough. She insisted we had to be in bed. Once she was in bed, no one could move around under the bed. Otherwise, the noise would disturb her rest and affect her baby's development. What I couldn't stand the most was that she wouldn't allow Wi-Fi to be installed in the dorm. If we needed to go online, we had to go outside. This included the dorms above, below, and next to ours, which were also supposed to turn off their Wi-Fi. However, no one in the other dorms paid any attention to her. She tried every trick in the book, crying, making a scene, even threatening to harm herself, but still couldn't persuade the modern college students to turn off their Wi-Fi. In the end, she had to give up and let it go. Lumia also frequently asked us to help her wash or hang up her clothes. It wasn't just occasionally, it was often, or you could say almost every time. At first, for the first couple of times, we thought it was no big deal to help out occasionally. After all, she was pregnant, so we had to look out for her a bit. But if it happened 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 times in a row, she was just playing us for fools. So after that, no one helped anymore. Everyone politely declined with various excuses, but she ended up doing something particularly disgusting. She secretly put her dirty clothes in the basin where we soaked our own dirty laundry, even her underwear and socks. Who wouldn't recognize their own things? When we were doing laundry and found her dirty clothes in our basin, we were all furious, especially when I saw her underwear lying in the basin I used for washing my own undergarments. I was truly disgusted beyond words. I remember her saying during a video call with her boyfriend, "Being pregnant is really tough. Not only do I have to pee all the time, but there's also a lot of discharge and it always smells like urine. It's such a hassle." I suppressed my inner irritation and calmly said to the pregnant woman lying on the bed, "Mia, how could you put your dirty underwear in my basin for underwear? That's really unhygienic." Mia didn't even lift her head as she played with her phone. "Why are you so particular? We're all good girlfriends living together. Can't you be a little considerate toward me as a pregnant woman? Mia, you can't do this. Underwear and underpants shouldn't be washed together. Besides, why should I wash your underpants for you? You're not incapable of washing them yourself. Don't be so selfish. If it weren't for worrying about public washing machines being unclean, I wouldn't have asked you to wash them for me. It's just a pair of underpants. Not a big deal. I'm pregnant. Shouldn't you be more considerate? Let me wash her underwear for her." "Sorry, but I just can't do that. Lumia, I'm telling you for the last time, if you do this again, don't blame me for being rude." "What a petty person," she said, then gave me a big eye roll. turned around, and went back to playing on her phone. She didn't take her underwear away, nor did she say another word to me. She's pregnant, so I can't hit her. The cost of hurting someone in this society is too high, even if it's to defend your own rights. You can't resort to violence. If you do, you'll have to pay the price, whether it's a psychological toll or a financial one. I had no choice but to forcefully suppress my urge to explode. I grabbed a pair of disposable chopsticks, tossed her panties into her wash basin, and threw away the underwear that had been contaminated by her dirty panties. It was our freshman year, and we had a lot of classes every day, following the principle of harmony. We generally avoided making a big deal out of things with her, as long as it didn't involve our own interests. We were willing to let things slide. But again, what could we do? She was pregnant. Over the weekend, Lu M's boyfriend, Li Shiyuan, called us roommates and asked us to take good care of his wife. He explained that he had to work part-time to support her and didn't have much time to look after Lumia himself. Besides, boys can't enter the girls' dormitory, so there's really nothing we can do. Lumia is really struggling with her pregnancy. If there's anything she needs us to buy for her, she told us to pay up front, and she'll reimburse us later. Lumia's morning sickness is getting worse, and she asked us not to eat in the dormitory because she feels nauseous when smelling food. Yet, she herself eats things like snail noodles in the dorm. If anyone eats in the dorm, she will vomit loudly. Judging from the sound, there's somewhat of a performative element to it. Her behavior as a pregnant woman is really strange. She has no problem eating herself, but she feels nauseous when others eat. Guys, who gets it? One day when we didn't have classes, a few of us wanted to just laze in bed in the dorm, not go out and sleep until we naturally woke up around 9 am hungry. We were just about to make instant noodles to eat. Lumia started silently crying in the dorm, then turned into quiet sobs, and finally burst into loud wailing. Her crying was so loud that the whole dorm building could hear it. While crying, she complained indignantly, "I told you I'm pregnant, but you still don't consider my feelings. My morning sickness is so bad. I can't stand those smells. Yet you deliberately eat food in the dorm to make me feel sick." Lu Maid's wailing finally drew the attention of the dormitory supervisor. After hearing Lu Maid's tearful account, the supervisor sided with the pregnant student. The dormitory supervisor said, "Even though she's a college student, being pregnant isn't forbidden. The school doesn't have any rules against pregnant students attending classes. Since you all live in the same room, you should take care of each other and be more considerate of her. After all, she's pregnant, and that makes her a vulnerable group. When I was pregnant back in the day, I had to do all kinds of work and was exhausted. I often thought about how grateful I would be if someone around me could lend a hand. You're close comrades living in the same room, so you should be even more willing to make an effort. Don't make things difficult for her. Just be accommodating. We're making things difficult for her. Is there any justice in this world? It really is true that the crying child gets the milk." 1 month into the semester, Lumia was already over 2 months pregnant. In the past, every night her boyfriend would accompany her out for a walk and bring back a kettle of hot water. By the way, but now, a month later, she said her boyfriend had to work part-time jobs and couldn't accompany her to fetch hot water anymore. Lumia said she was pregnant and couldn't do physical labor. The hot water room was damp and slippery, and it wasn't safe for her to go by herself. So, she asked us to bring back hot water for her to wash every night. But we ourselves were too lazy to go that far to fetch hot water since the weather wasn't hot. I myself just made do with cold water, although we never explicitly refused her requests. No one actually went to fetch hot water for her. Lumia went to complain to both the counselor and the dorm supervisor, crying and saying that we were so cruel as to not even get hot water for a pregnant woman. After all, she was pregnant and couldn't go by herself. What if she fell on the way and hurt the baby? But no matter how much she cried and made a fuss, none of us went to get her hot water. Finally, with no other choice, the dorm supervisor said she would boil hot water at the dorm office and told Lumia to go pick it up. One day when we returned to the dorm, Lumia had already drawn her bed curtain and fallen asleep. We quietly washed up and got into bed to rest. Unable to sleep, I lay there playing on my phone when suddenly I heard a man sneeze very faint and suppressed. Then from Lou Maid's bed came the sound of two people playfully wrestling. It was a man and a woman tickling each other, trying hard to keep quiet so no one would hear. Yao Zayama got out of bed before me and stood in the center of the dorm. She asked, "Mai, are you there?" After Lou Maid's bed came her muffled voice, saying, "Shia, I am here. I'm going to sleep. You should also go to bed early. Mai, did you bring an outsider back?" "Oh, Xiaoa, that is my friend. Came to visit me today. Nothing serious. Just go to sleep quickly. Don't disturb my rest." It's a male voice. "What guy? You heard wrong. I'm on a video call with my boyfriend. Go to sleep. Don't disturb me. It's bad for the baby's development. It's not a video call. He's right here in this room. No way. Go to sleep." At that moment, the student union came to check the dorm. Lumia pulled the bed curtain open a little, and from my angle, I could just see a pair of feet that were at least size 43 through the gap. After the student union members left, I got out of bed, pulled Wu Yang, and woke up Lumia. I said, "My Li Xiuan was in your bed." "Right." She was quite defiant. "So what if he was?" Wu Yang said, "We usually let you have your way and help you out. That's fine. But bringing a boy into our girls' dormitory to spend the night is absolutely not allowed. After all, this dormitory isn't yours alone. There are other girls living here, too. It's Lu Xiuan. What's wrong with that? He's my child's father. We sleep together. Why can't we?" Yao Zayama said, "You two can live wherever you want outside, but you can't bring him to our dormitory." "I don't care. I just want Xiuan to stay with me." I said, "If you still insist on this, I'll have no choice but to tell the dorm supervisor and counselor." Hearing that they were looking for the counselor, Lumia became very nervous and started throwing things around. Luin, on the other hand, cursed loudly while wearing Lumia's cute bunny cosplay pajamas and left the dormitory. I really don't know how he managed to sneak in under the dorm supervisor's nose. Could it be because of the bunny pajamas? Around 1:00 in the morning, I was woken up by the noise, although the sounds were not loud, just urgent breathing and a few camera shutter clicks. They were enough to disturb my already light sleep. "Lumi," there was someone in bed. She was doing something indecent with a man and even taking photos. Looks Li Zwan is back again. Wu Yang got out of bed and went into the bathroom while Lumia had already stopped making noise. Guess Li Xiuan is about to go limp except for Zayam, who was still asleep. Neither Wu Yang nor I could fall back to sleep. We quietly played on our phones all night, and that damn Li Xiuan actually started snoring. As soon as it was light outside, Li Xiuan slipped out the door. When something like this happens, everyone's first instinct is to go find the counselor. The next day after class, Wu Yang and I dragged Xiaoma to the counselor's office to request a dorm change. Before we even entered, we saw Lu Maid's figure at the door of the counselor's office. After a long while, when she finally came out, her previously empty hands were now holding a bag of fruit. Could it have been given by the counselor? The young male counselor behind her was smiling like a blooming flower, and Lu Mia seemed a bit disheveled. Was it just my imagination? After Lu Mia had walked away, we knocked on the door and entered the counselor's office to propose the idea of changing dorms. The counselor, while eating an orange, said he would discuss bed arrangements with the logistics department first. We could all tell his attitude was very dismissive. The counselor told us again to take more care of Lumia in daily life and not to always target her. She is pregnant, so it's normal to have some mood swings, and it's even more normal to need help. The counselor just talks a lot. He can't possibly understand how helpless it is to be stuck with a pregnant woman who's being overly sensitive. Teacher Zhang, Lu Mia got pregnant during school. Does our school really not care at all? Lu has already obtained her marriage certificate. According to current policies, it is allowed. What? Already married? Teacher Zhang, we really don't want to live with her anymore. We're still students ourselves. We can't take care of her. You guys go back first. I'll coordinate with the logistics department again. A week passed. but we still hadn't received a reply from the counselor. When we went to see him again, he said he was still arranging a bed. Meanwhile, Lumia started visiting his office even more frequently. At this point, I came up with a new plan. Stay away from my melodramatic, pregnant roommate. It's only been 2 or 3 months, and she's already causing so much trouble for us sisters in the dorm. Once her belly gets bigger, she's bound to become even more demanding. And who knows what other tricks she might pull if anything unexpected happens. I'm afraid she might try to pin the blame on someone. In the early hours of the morning, Lumia suddenly woke us all up pitifully, saying she wanted to eat watermelon. I was sleeping soundly and was woken up feeling completely disoriented. I want to eat watermelon. I want to eat watermelon. I want to eat watermelon. She repeated it several more times. Xiaoma said, "It's the middle of the night. Where am I supposed to find watermelon for you? Just go to sleep. You're too tired." Lumia cried, "I want to eat watermelon right now. I absolutely must have watermelon. Otherwise, I can't fall asleep. If I don't sleep, none of you should sleep either. When Nu Xiaoma, go buy me some watermelon. Why don't you ask Li Xiuan to buy it for you? It's so late and it's not safe for a girl to go out." I said, "Xiuan's phone can't be reached. And besides, he can't even enter the girls' dormitory. We can only ask you guys can't get in. How did he manage to sneak in last time and get into your bed?" I was really about to be driven mad. I ignored her, covered myself with the blanket, and tried to sleep again. The other two, seeing that I was going to sleep, also covered themselves with their blankets and went to sleep. Lumia still wouldn't give up. She shook each of us one by one, saying, "No one sleeps." As she shook us, she cried that she wanted to eat watermelon, and the more she cried, the louder she got. I was so annoyed by her noise that I opened a food delivery app to see if there was any place that could deliver watermelon. No, there really wasn't. I said, "May there's no delivery service for watermelon at this hour. Go to sleep, and when we wake up tomorrow morning, we'll go out and have watermelon." "Okay," Louis said angrily. "No, I want it now. If I don't eat it, I'll die in the middle of the night." Her voice was not only loud, but also incredibly piercing. I really wanted to kick her to death, but it wouldn't be worth sacrificing the rest of my life for her. It was unclear which dormitory had been awakened by her, but they called the dormitory supervisor. After understanding the situation, the supervisor was also quite helpless. She first scolded Lumia, telling her not to disturb the rest of the others, or else she would be penalized. But no matter what was said, it was useless. Lumia had only one thought in mind. She wanted to eat watermelon. Seeing that a tough approach didn't work, the supervisor remembered that she was pregnant and tried a softer approach, coaxing her by saying, "Where can we buy watermelon in the middle of the night? All the fruit shops are closed. Sleep well tonight and we'll have it tomorrow." Okay, not sleeping at night isn't good for the baby either. No, she had to have it, and she had to have it quickly. I really couldn't stand it anymore, feeling extremely annoyed. I opened the Matuan app and called a KTV. The other party said, "There's watermelon in the fruit platter." "Okay, make one for me. Can you deliver it, miss? This is a KTV, not a food delivery service. We don't have delivery personnel. I'll pay extra." Mississippi, all my private rooms are fully booked with guests, and the wait staff are so busy they can't even catch their breath. There's no one available to go out and deliver a small fruit platter, even if you offer extra money. It wouldn't be as much as the tips they're getting from other customers. I was at my wits' end in the middle of the night. I wanted to get as far away from her as possible, but there was nowhere to go. The other dorm rooms were already asleep, and even if they weren't, I had only been in college for a little over 2 months and hadn't made many friends yet. If I went out to stay at a hotel, it was already past midnight, and as a young, attractive female college student, it wouldn't be safe for me to go out alone. There was no other way. I had no choice. I gritted my teeth and looked at the kind and approachable dorm supervisor. "Auntie, I'm afraid of the dark. I don't dare go." "Auntie, I don't dare either. Ah, I want to eat. I want to eat. I want to eat watermelon." Hearing that none of us dared to go, she started crying and screaming again. Auntie could no longer calm Lu Maid's emotions, and in the end, She walked out of the dormitory building herself. At 3:30 in the morning, Lumia finally got to eat the watermelon she had been longing for. After taking just one bite, she said she was too tired, threw down the fruit plate, and went to sleep. The rest of us exchanged glances, and with no other choice, also went to bed in 3 days. Lumia pulled the same stunt twice more. I couldn't take it anymore. I was just a kid. I had to get away from her first. I needed to move out of this dorm. If I switched to another dorm, I couldn't be sure I wouldn't run into other bizarre roommates. So, I might as well take it a step further and just move off campus. Back in high school, I had thought that if I ever went to college, it would be a great experience to rent a place off campus. But at that time, I figured that since college would be unfamiliar territory, I should at least wait until my junior or senior year to move out. Now, it seemed I had to move up the plan. Lumia has been pregnant for over 3 months now, and her appetite has improved and not as picky anymore. However, she's become even more sensitive and lazier. She started sleeping a lot, needing to use the bathroom frequently, and craving food when we don't have classes. We don't dare stay in the dorm. Even the slightest sound of footsteps can be a reason for her to complain about it affecting her pregnancy. And when she goes to the bathroom, because of her frequent urination, the noise she makes is enough to wake up the entire sleeping dorm in an instant. The snacks and takeout we buy, if we're not careful, will all be devoured by her in one go at the beginning of the semester when we didn't know each other well yet. We foolishly thought that taking care of Lumia, who was pregnant, was just the right thing to do after someone weaker. No big deal. Back then, she asked us to help bring food and supplies, and since Lai Xiuan said he would pay us back, we didn't hesitate to cover the costs for her. But now, not a single cent of the reimbursement Lu Xiuan promised has been paid. Even when we bring it up, Lai Xiuan always has excuses like he hasn't received his part-time job pay yet, or he just gave money to Lu Maid to buy something and has no spare cash. Besides, did you get my permission to buy that 268 yuan fruit platter for her to eat watermelon at KTV? Fortunately, we didn't buy that fruit platter, but it's a shame for the dorm supervisor who's still waiting for Lumia to pay up. Although we don't lack those things, over time, the expenses for one person at Lumi's place add up to over 1,000, and for 3 people combined, it amounts to several than a significant sum. Wouldn't it be better for me to use that money to buy some decent skincare products? Why should I give it to her? It doesn't earn any gratitude and only brings frustration. Gradually, the 3 cleared female university students realized that Lai Ziyuan and Lu Meidi were doing it on purpose, intentionally withholding money and deliberately making us pay to take care of Louis because the class inquired with us about the boys' dormitory. Li Xiuan's roommate said that Lai Xiuan didn't have any part-time job at all. He often went to internet cafes to play games with others, and when his family gave him living expenses, he would frequently buy a lot of cigarettes first or take Lumia out for lavish meals. How could he possibly have time for a part-time job? After we insisted a few times, Lumi angrily said, "Yao Zayama, your family is so wealthy. What's wrong with helping me out? Aren't you already working part-time jobs? You're not exactly broke. So, is it really necessary to ask me for such a small amount? Wu Yang, you get so much allowance from your parents. How can you have the nerve to ask me for money?" The 3 of us are already certain that Lu Maid and Li Shiyuan have been playing us for fools. I must leave. Stay as far away from her as possible since I didn't get this semester scholarship. I mentioned in our dorm chat that my parents are patriarchal, and because they need to buy a house for my younger brother, they've stopped giving me living expenses. Without this semester scholarship, I'm out of money, so I need to find more part-time jobs, and will have to study while working part-time from now on. This semester, Louis received a motivation scholarship and a financial aid grant for students from poor families. Poor. Impossible because she usually eats and dresses well. I have been working as a math, physics, and chemistry tutor at a tutoring institution, but the income from unannounced teaching is really limited. A few days ago, the principal of the training school told me that if I could take on more students, teaching a class of 10 students would bring higher commission. allowing me to earn 4 or 5,000 yuan a month. For a student like me, this income was quite substantial, enough to rent a small apartment nearby and live alone. There really is a golden house within books. As the ancients truly did not deceive us, I advanced 5,000 yuan from the principal, and with the help of a real estate agent, quickly rented a suitable one-bedroom apartment. But I didn't mention it to anyone. After class every day, I said I was doing part-time work, and they had gotten used to it. However, they didn't know what kind of job I was doing, especially Lumia, who always thought I was doing manual labor, like handing out flyers or acting as a mascot. I've arranged my small apartment to be cozy and comfortable, just the independent space I've always wanted. I can't move into the small apartment just yet, although the environment there is nice. I haven't stocked up on daily necessities, and I haven't completed the off-campus residency procedures. The student council often conducts dorm checks, which could affect my academic credits. Before I finish the off-campus residency procedures, I can only try to minimize my time with Lumi, since she insists we all go to bed by 9. I'll just shower at the apartment and return afterward. By then, she'll already be asleep. One day around 8:00 in the evening, Yao Xia was taking a shower. Lu, matey suffering from frequent and urgent urination, insisted that Xia come out immediately, but Zayama had shampoo and soap all over her hair and body, and she couldn't even open her eyes, unable to step out right away. She said, "Could you wait just a moment? I'll be done soon, or maybe you could use the bathroom in the neighboring dorm for now." Lumia got angry, called Li Shiwan, saying she had been bullied, that her stomach hurt, and that something might happen to the baby. 5 minutes later, Li Shiwan kicked open the bathroom door. Yao Zayama had just rinsed off the foam and was completely exposed. Amid screams, Li Shiwan grabbed Yao Zayama by the hair and beat her up. By the time the dorm supervisor arrived, Yao Xia was already terrified. Wu Yang called the police. When the officers arrived, they took everyone to the police station. In the end, Lu Maid knelt before Yao Zayama, begging her to spare Li Shiwan. She said that if Lai Shiwan went to jail, no one would take care of her anymore. Besides, if Lai Shiwan got a criminal record, it would be difficult for their child to pass civil service exams or get a government job in the future. Yao Xia was a girl from a wealthy family. How could she have endured such humiliation, especially when she was exposed and then beaten? She was determined to make Lai Shiwan pay. But later, when the school counselor arrived, he advised Yao Zayama not to escalate the matter, promising her a chance for guaranteed admission to graduate school if the incident became public. It would not only harm the school's reputation, but also be detrimental to Zayama herself. At that time, many people gathered to watch the commotion, and some even recorded the event. If it escalated, the video might be spread online by malicious individuals, which would bring no benefit to Shushi. But Yao Zayama refused to back down, insisting on taking legal action and demanding strict punishment for both Li Xiuan and Lui. Li Xiuan was detained while Lu Meidi, being pregnant, was released. The next day, back in the dormitory, Yao Zayama insisted on changing rooms, but the counselor still said there were no vacant beds. So, Zayama had no choice but to endure for now. However, we all underestimated her. The very next day, Xia's father arrived at school with a group of strong men, moved Zayam's belongings away, and talked for a long time in the principal's office. After that, the counselor was no longer the counselor. Lai Xiuan stayed at the police station for 7 days before being released. Amazingly, the school didn't take any action against this guy, as if nothing had happened. But on the very night after he came out, he was cornered in a dark alley without surveillance, beaten half to death, his right hand broken, and unable to take his final exams. That night, Wu Yang video called her mother. Lu Maid said it was too noisy, shouting at Wu Yang to quickly hang up and not disturb her sleep. Wu Yang said she'd be done soon and had one more thing to tell her mother. She promised she'd definitely be in bed before 9:00, but Lumia didn't wait for her to finish. Instead, going to the bathroom and splashing the basin of water, soaking her underwear for a week straight at Wu Yang, leaving Wu Yang soaked from head to toe. Soon, the new female counselor and dorm supervisor arrived. Lumia began using her signature tactics, playing weak, pretending to be pitiful, and kneeling to apologize. The counselor and dorm supervisor, taking a hands-off approach, sided with the pregnant Lu Meidi. In the end, Wu Yang had no choice but to swallow her anger and take the loss. But only I knew that although Wu Yang seemed to have suffered a silent loss on the surface this time, in reality, she was by no means as harmless and accommodating as she appeared. She would definitely make Lu Meidi regret everything she had done today. After the matter was settled, I had just finished work and returned to the dormitory before entering my room. I was stopped by a classmate from the adjacent dorm who told me what had happened. After entering the room, seeing Wu Yang soaked in water and the bed in complete disarray, I felt that if I didn't leave right away, I would definitely be the next one to suffer. I had to get out of there quickly. I'm really afraid that I might do something that directly triggers Lumi's desire to kill me. Actually, I still haven't figured out what Lumi really wants to do. If you say she wants to drive us away, she doesn't want us to hide somewhere else. If you say she wants to keep us, she always finds ways to make us feel miserable. What on earth does she want? After comforting Wu Yang, I told her, I'm going to stay overnight at a fellow townsman's dorm. Your bed is soaked, so take a shower and sleep in mine. Wu Yang had nowhere else to go for now, so she had no choice but to agree to my suggestion. The dorm supervisor asked her to shower again and rest quickly. I packed my bag and was about to leave. Warmth. Where are you going? Do you hate me, too? Lumia stopped me. My heart suddenly jumped into my throat. After pondering for a long time, I said, Vaiyang's bed is wet. Right, I let her sleep in my bed. My fellow townsman's roommate isn't in the dorm today, so I'll go sleep at her place for one night. After saying that, I quickly left without waiting for her reply. I went to my small apartment. The next day, during class, Yi sat beside Wu Yang. Her complexion looked dull, and her dark circles were especially heavy. Wu Yang said, Last night around midnight, Lumi wanted to eat mango again. Yao Zayama wasn't there, and neither were you. I ignored her, so she thought of calling you. She found your phone was left in the dorm. Lumia even tried to turn on your phone, but since it had a password, she couldn't open it. She was acting like a lunatic. It was really bizarre. I don't know where you were, but in the middle of the night, she went door to door knocking on every dorm room, but no one paid any attention to her. This girl, guess what? She actually shouted fire. The girls in the dorm were half asleep, grabbed their clothes, and rushed downstairs. It was 2:00 or 3:00 in the morning, freezing cold, and the dorm courtyard was full of girls with bare legs wrapped in quilts. Luckily, I had deliberately left an old phone in the dorm and set Lu Maid's number to call forwarding. Whenever Louis called me, it would be transferred to that phone. I guess I managed to escape this time. I wonder what she really wants with me. Fortunately, she's not in my class. Otherwise, it would have been really hard to avoid her. University class schedules and classrooms aren't fixed. Lu Mia doesn't have my class timetable, so as long as I'm not in the dorm, she really can't find me. After class, I wanted to go to the restroom and saw Lu Mia from afar at the restroom entrance. There were many people there. So, she said to the girls queuing up, Can't you see I'm pregnant? Pregnant women can't wait to use the restroom. Are you sick? A normal person fighting with a pregnant woman for the restroom. If you're sick, go get treated quickly. She kept babbling on about something else. I didn't dare to listen anymore and quickly changed floors. In the afternoon, I passed by Lumia's classroom and saw she was still having class. So, I quickly went to the counselor to say my parents had come to visit me in the city and I wanted to stay with them for a few days. I returned to the dormitory, packed up my things again, and completely left that dorm. I ran into her a few times on campus, and I always made excuses about rushing to class and walked away. But what I couldn't avoid eventually came Louis reported to the school that I was staying out overnight every day. The new counselor talked to me and said, if I hadn't gone through proper procedures, I couldn't stay out overnight. I had no choice but to say that last time when Wu Yang was splashed with water by Lumia and her bedding got wet, so she had nowhere to sleep. I let Wu Yang use my bed. and I went to stay overnight in my hometown mate's dorm. I also found a senior from my hometown to help me give false testimony. The condition was a Bluetooth earbud. The new counselor couldn't find anything wrong with me, so she could only repeat that we should help one another and the like. Wu Yang's bedding had also dried these past few days, so she told me to move back in. I took the opportunity to mention that I wanted to apply for off-campus housing. After the new counselor talked with my parents over the phone, she quickly helped me complete the off-campus housing procedures. After school, I went back to the dorm, drank some alcohol, my face flushed red, and put a cooling gel patch on my forehead. I kept sniffing and pretended to have caught a cold and fever. Seeing me like that, Lu Mia stayed far away from me, terrified that my cold would infect her and affect the development of her fetus. She kept shouting for me to get out of the dorm immediately and not infect her. Fine, that's what you want. I'll go. Wu Yang said that Yao Xia's dad bought her a house and she's now living off campus. She also found a way to leave. During that time, Lu Mia called Li Xiwan every night until after midnight, her voice booming, cursing and crying. The soundproofing was poor and the neighboring dorms were all kept awake by her disturbance. Winter break came quickly. After the exams, we all went home. Lu Maid's pregnancy was soon discovered by her parents, but by then, she was already 5 months along, so she couldn't have an abortion and could only have an induced labor. Lu Mia refused, and the hospital didn't dare perform it, so they had no choice but to dragging, and by the time it dragged on to the start of school, her parents had no choice but to meet the in-laws before the new year. No one knows exactly how they talked it through, but anyway, the girl's family agreed to the marriage and to the fact that she was already pregnant. On the first day of school, we all went back to campus. I still had some things left in the dorm that I needed to pick up, and by coincidence, I ran into Lu Mia and her parents again. Li Ziyuan's mother was there too, constantly reminding Lu Mi of all the things she needed to pay attention to, insisting that she must take care of her health and stay safe. Seeing Li Ziyuan's mother, I was truly startled. It turned out to be the neighbor who lived right across from my home back in my hometown. It's Wan. Oh my God, what a coincidence. I never expected you to be roommates with our Mia. I remembered my mother telling me that Aunt Phoebe was divorced and that she had a son who lived back in their hometown with his grandparents. His father was a piece of trash involved in gambling, drugs, and worse, and had long since vanished. I just never expected it to be such a coincidence the child was actually Li Ziyuan. Aunt Faye, thinking I was just going back to the dorm as usual, kept praising me nonstop, saying I had been considerate since I was little, always warm-hearted, kind, and willing to help others with me around. They could rest easy. They also told Lu Maid's parents that Wuan lived up to her name. She was especially nice and really good at taking care of people. They told Lu Maid's parents to just rest assured and entrust Lu Mia to Wuan. I was so happy to be praised by them. Go ahead and praise me. Who doesn't like being complimented? Lu Maid's parents and Li Ziyuan's mother stayed with Lu Mia until noon, then went to eat together. I quickly packed up my things and ran off just as I was about to head out. Wu Yang came back too. She said she was also back to pack up her things. She had rented an apartment off campus with a senior student. I've already handled the day student formalities with the dormitory office at school. I won't be coming back to live here anymore. I can't afford to mess with her, but I can avoid her. If anything ever happens to her child in the future, she'll probably try to pin it on us. I nodded vigorously to show I agreed. I said I had also rented a place off campus and that we should visit each other sometime. That evening, Lu Mia called me and asked where I was. I told her I was at my part-time job. She asked when I got off work, and I said probably after midnight since there was still a lot to do. How would I dare tell her I was tutoring? If she decided to make trouble for me, my hard-won high-paying job might be ruined, especially during the sensitive period before the double reduction policy. Who knew what could happen if she reported me? I'd be in serious trouble. Wu Yang said that Yao Ziyama had already blocked Lu Mi, although Wu Yang himself hadn't blocked her. He simply wouldn't answer her calls. The only person she could talk to now was me. and I was either in class or doing a part-time job. So, she could never catch me away from the dorm next door, said that since Lumi could no longer find anyone in her own dorm to do things for her, she started asking people in the neighboring dorm. By then, the people in the next dorm already knew plenty about what she'd been doing. So, whenever they saw her show up, they all dodged her and kept their distance. Living alone in the dorm, she often cried at the door. The dorm supervisor went to comfort her, but in the end, she got attached to the supervisor and kept asking her to buy things for her. After the purchases were made, Li Xiuan still wouldn't pay. Over time, the supervisor stopped paying any attention to her as well. Nobody's money comes from nowhere, and what she wanted were all nice things too. Winter watermelon, shine muscat grapes, durian, mangoes. Later, when the dorm mother still couldn't get the money, she had no choice but to ask the school to mediate. The counselor told Lu Mie to pay the money back, but Lu Mie said she had no money on her, and Lai Xiuan didn't have any either. So the counselor made the decision to have Lu Maid's needy student subsidy for that semester paid directly to the dorm mother. Ever since Li Xiuan's mother found out her son had gotten a marriage certificate and already had a child, she was absolutely over the moon. All day, long back in the village, she was bragging, "My son is so impressive. Didn't even pay a bride price and still got himself a wife. My daughter-in-law is even more impressive. Ash is not even graduated yet and already has a child. Is that something to be proud of?" Li Ziyuan's grandparents were even more carried away. All day long, they gossiped about everyone in the village, and whenever there was a wedding in the village, the old couple would go to the banquet and loudly boast at the table. "Our grandson's wife didn't require a bride price, didn't ask for a house, and she's even a college student. She's pregnant now, and she hasn't caused the elders at home a bit of trouble, unlike other families who spend so much money bringing back a daughter-in-law, like an ancestor, to be pampered. Our Li Xiuan is the impressive one, making the host throwing the banquet coldly want to kick them out." Lu Maid's parents and Li Xiuan's mother got my phone number from Lu Mie and would call me off and telling me to take good care of Lu Mie. I'd say, "Sure, once I get off work, I'll go back and take care of her. Once I get off work, I'll go back and buy her fruit. Once I get off work, I'll go back and buy her meals. Once I get off work, I'll go back and accompany her to prenatal checkups. Don't rush. Just wait." After work, every day, I'd go back to the apartment to stay there. I had to work on Saturdays and Sundays, too, so I never went back to the dorm. The school staff was very stable, and since Lu Mie was pregnant, no one else would move into our dorm. So, Lu Mie was still on her own. No, she still had Li Xiuan. I heard from Fei in the neighboring dorm that she often saw Li Xiuan sneaking into the girls' dormitory to spend the night. But since it didn't affect anyone's own interests, no one reported them. But Lai Xiuan's mother went to my parents first to complain, saying, "I always didn't come back to the dorm to stay. Was I seeing some other man outside? Had I been kept by someone?" My mom said, "Aren't we buying a house for Wuan's younger brother? The money wasn't enough, so we didn't give Wuan living expenses. That girl is very independent. She went out to wash dishes and hand out flyers to earn tuition and living expenses. Since she got off work too late, she stayed in the staff dormitory. I had already told my parents the truth, and my parents understood, cooperating perfectly. Yao, Xiaomaoyang, and I had completely distanced ourselves from this roommate." A student from the neighboring dorm said that because everyone kept their distance from Lumi, she couldn't find anyone willing to spend money or effort on her. Her belly had gotten much bigger, making life inconvenient. So she had moved out of the dorm and was renting a place with Li Xiuan. Li Xiuan personally took care of Lu Mie every day, and Lu Mie kept demanding one thing after another, which cost quite a lot. The more than 2,000 yu on a monthly Yuan got for living expenses didn't last long at all, so he often made excuses to go back to the dorm to stay. Because of this, Lu Maid's parents went to find Li Xiuan many times, and Li Xiuan always said the same thing: "No money if you want, you can have the baby aborted." The Lu family felt like they had punched cotton, unable to make any impact at all. In June, Lu Mie gave birth to a girl, and Li Xiuan's grandparents were immediately unhappy. They insisted the child wasn't their family's, saying they had someone calculate it and the baby was supposed to be a boy. Their family did not want a girl, just a money-losing burden. Lu Maid's parents directly packed up Lu Mia and the child and sent them from the hospital to Li Ziyuan's grandparents' home. Li Shiyuan's grandparents, who favored sons over daughters, didn't take proper care of Lu Mi during her confinement at all. Besides, Lu Mia was extremely demanding and hard to please during the confinement period. Li Xiuan had just finished his junior year and was supposed to start looking for an internship. But this second-generation rich kid used to living carefree. Neither went to find a job nor stayed home dutifully to care for his wife after childbirth. He spent all day playing games. The job of taking care of her during confinement fell to Li Ziyuan's grandmother. She cried to the people around her. City girls are so hard to please. She wants the air conditioner on every day. Think how much electricity that must waste. Besides, not letting her catch a cold is for her own good. It's only 30-some degree, and even my old cold, aching legs hurt badly. How could she possibly be hot? And she keeps demanding good food. 2. She's already eaten 12 pumpkins, and they were all stewed and lard. Why is she still so ungrateful? When September came and school started again, Li Xiuan and Lu Meidi both returned to school. But the two of them were like oil and water, as arung to strangers. According to leaks from people in the know, Li Xiuan and Lu Mia had already divorced, and the child had been given to a kind family for 30,000 yuan. Lu Maid's parents wanted to accuse Lai Shiyuan of rape, but Li Ziyuan's mother said the child was already an adult. Besides, teachers at the school, classmates in the dormitory, and even the dorm mother and counselor could all testify that the two had married voluntarily. No matter where they went, they wouldn't win the case. In the end, they only agreed to take the divorce certificate after splitting the 30,000 yuan used to give away the child evenly. One day before graduating from senior year, a middle-aged couple came to the school, carrying a child to find Lumi. They said the child might have leukemia and needed a bone marrow transplant, and they hoped Lumia and the child's father would go for a compatibility test. Lumia and Li Xiuan took the deposit given by the couple and went to get tested. Lumia was a match, but Li Xiuan's blood type did not match the child's. 2 people with type B blood could not have a child with type A blood, so if the child had not been switched at birth, then the child's father must have been someone else. Li Xiuan exploded on the spot. If their values were different, they could get divorced. But being cheated on for so long was absolutely every man's red line. Lai Xiuan immediately pulled out a knife and pressed it against Lu Mia, forcing her to tell the truth. In the first 20 years of Lu Maid's life, she had always been a proud and delicate little white flower, never having faced such intimidation before. Scared out of her wits, she blurted out that the child's biological father was the former counselor. After stabbing Lu Mia, Li Xiuan fled and returned to the school. He found the counselor who had been transferred to the logistics department and delivered a castrating blow. Li Xiuan had no experience in escaping and was caught that very night at an internet cafe in a neighboring city. When arrested, he shouted that he was acting on behalf of justice, claiming that the despicable man and woman deserved it for scheming to make him the fall guy. Lu Mia didn't die. The knife had struck her uterus. It's unclear whether this will have any lasting effects, as even those who undergo sections have their uteruses cut without major issues. But the counselor was miserable. His manhood was truly gone, and he had really become a eunuch in name and in fact because the damage was too severe. Surgery couldn't reattach it either. In the cold drink shop, Xia Ma and I drank icy fruit tea while listening to Wu Yang talk about what happened back then. Actually, as early as freshman year, Wu Yang had already caught Lu Meidi, who was heavily pregnant, going into a hotel room with the counselor in the neighboring city. At that time, when she saw the two of them coming out of the hotel where she worked part-time, she deliberately avoided them, afraid of how awkward it would be. She just never expected that the two of them would end up chatting and saying that the child was the counselor's. After Lu Mi splashed water on Wu Yang wanted to stay as far away from Lu Meidi as possible, when she went with Ziam and me to find the counselor that time. She also noticed that Lumi came out of the counselor's office with her clothes disheveled and from the angle where she was standing. She even saw the counselor pinch Lume Dis. But the moment she walked out the door, Lumia had gone too far, and Wu Yang had wanted to get back at her in secret, but had never found a good chance. Just then, a relative of hers adopted a child and hosted a meal for relatives and friends. From the mouths of all the relatives, a complete chain of events was pieced together, and Wu Yang was delighted to find that Lu Meidi and Li Shiyuan were in this story. Before the child could start kindergarten, he needed a medical checkup. So, Wu Yang went along. She told the relative that she knew the doctor at that hospital, and once the results came out, she would deliver them to the relative's home. So, she made a fake medical report for the child's parents. The adoptive parents took it as true and came looking for the child's biological parents in advance to prepare for bone marrow donation. Wu Yang, hurry up, tell us the details. I'm dying of curiosity. As for the specific details, it's not convenient to reveal them. This involves my boyfriend's work. But all you need to know is that I got my revenge for that basin of water. But Wu Yang never expected Li Shiyuan to be so ruthless, turning Lu Mi and the biological father of her child into a situation with no way out and no descendants. The counselor wasn't even sure whether Lu Maid's child was his, and Lu Mia herself wasn't sure either. During that summer vacation after receiving the admission letter, Lu Mia chatted online with many alumni, and only Li Shiyuan and the counselor responded enthusiastically to her advances. The counselor was young, didn't have a girlfriend, and when faced with a college girl who had delivered herself to his doorstep, he couldn't resist and slept with Lumia. But because of their teacher-student identities, the two never made their relationship public. Of course, he may have just wanted to sleep with a young girl and simply look down on a girl like her. Lumi also knew the counselor wasn't truly sincere. While staying with the counselor, she also took a liking to Li Xiuan, a sports student with a body full of lean muscle. I remember her saying during late-night chats in the dorm that Li Xiuan had a very good body and could satisfy all her needs. Back then, we didn't understand and just assumed she was bragging about Li Xiuan being such a good boyfriend. Thinking about it now, she must have meant that he satisfied her in some other ways. After Yao Zayama finished an entire glass of iced lemon tea, she asked me to treat her to another strawberry ice cream, and then she'd tell me another huge scoop. Being a gossip lover, I ordered her an extra large one, afraid her scoop of gossip wouldn't be big enough. Xia said she had once run into the counselor and Lu Maid going to a movie. 2. After seeing the two of them enter a couple's private room, she followed them and overheard some indescribable sounds at the door. When her dad went to see the principal, he reported this incident in order to protect the school's reputation. The principal didn't make it public and simply transferred the counselor to another post. So, I'm the only one who didn't know. You guys are so tight-lipped. What else do you have? Hurry up and spill it. Well, not much real. It's all just campus gossip. Nothing that interesting. Ziam stuffed a big mouthful of ice cream into her mouth and shivered from the cold. Wu Yan looked a little gloomy. After thinking about it for a long time, she finally voiced her worry. Yuan, that time when Lumi splashed water on me, and you gave me your bed, in the middle of the night, Lumi thought I was asleep and called Li Shiwan. She said she had some candid photos from the girls' dorm, including ones of us changing clothes. She had already sent them to Li Shiwan to look at. I'm afraid they might leak them. I comforted her and said, don't worry about that. I've already asked my cousin from the computer science department, the genius she and I. He hacked into Lu Maid and Lai Zaiwen's phones long ago and deleted those photos. I also checked the channels they used to send them out and deleted everything thoroughly. Don't worry. Wu Yang immediately bought me an extra-large serving of mat cha red bean ice cream. That night, when Louis took Lai Xiuan to spend the night, I was certain I heard the sound of a camera taking pictures. I thought, given Lu Maid's character, she might really do something without any moral boundaries. So, I asked my hacker cousin Shi and I, who was furious about what we'd gone through, to handle it in exchange for just one genuine one-piece supersized figure, which was extremely expensive. Lumi never returned to school, and the university she'd worked so hard to get into ended in such an absurd way. A few years later, our long and active four-person dorm group, chat, received a message from Lou, maid, saying she was getting married. She invited a few of us roommates to attend her wedding, maybe out of curiosity, or maybe because we were reluctant to let go of those college days. None of us left the group, but none of us replied to her messages either. No one knew exactly what was going through her mind, but from that time on, she began posting snippets of her daily life in that group: her husband, her new home, her two stepdaughters, especially those twin stepdaughters in middle school, who in the videos looked like girls going through a severe, rebellious phase. In one video, those two daughters didn't like the wontons Lumia had cooked, and Lumia kept urging them to eat. The two girls were sick of her and knocked the bowl to the floor. Lumia cried about how unfortunate her life was. She wrote that she didn't get a diploma after college and could only take jobs that didn't require a degree. On top of that, she had to look after two children, so her options were even fewer. She couldn't make much money, and her husband wouldn't give her any besides liking his good body. This man had nothing else going for him. The man wanted a son, but Lumia never got pregnant. Her mother-in-law came up with all kinds of folk remedies for her and made her drink those bitter herbal concoctions every day. She refused to drink them, so her mother-in-law personally forced them down her throat. She pushed her mother-in-law over, and then her husband beat her in cases of domestic violence. Once there is a first time, there are countless more. Every time she wanted a divorce, her husband would work hard in bed all night. Now she is both afraid of him and unable to leave him. In the third year after their marriage, she still chose to leave that home, not because she had been beaten into fear, but because her husband had suffered a stroke. She still posts her daily life in that group, and that group is like a diary recording her life every day. She got married again to a boy 8 years younger than her. He took a liking to the fact that she had her own place to live. That was property she had received in her divorce from her previous husband. The young boyfriend said that the house had to have his mother's name added to it before they could get married. So she added it. After getting married, he wanted his own name added, too. Otherwise, he would divorce her. So she added it. After the name was added, she was hounded by a bunch of people demanding debts. It turned out the boy had owed a lot of money before the marriage, and seeing that she had a house, he wanted to use her house to pay off his gambling debts. In the end, she still lost the house. The boy also ran away. Now she wants to remarry, but she can't without a divorce. She can't get married again. Her parents turned gray because of her. She said that if she hadn't chosen to get married and have children while still in school, by now she would either be sitting in an office as a career elite or standing at a podium teaching students English grammar. But there are no ifs. Time never goes back. We still didn't reply to her messages, even when the three of us gathered from all over the country to drink coffee and catch up. We never replied to a single one of her messages again. The end.